Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our second semifinal for the Age of Empires 2 Noob Cup. I'm here with Hiram of Tyre, and we are looking at Calimehtar versus Statistic. Hiram, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing even better. This is going to be fantastic. I've been looking forward to this matchup for a long time. I think ever since I saw who won quarterfinal A and B, I've been really excited to have Calimehtar and Statistic go at it.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Both good showings on their first sets, both respectable strengths. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Yeah. I think both players were a lot of fun in their own quarterfinal matches. And I think that this set, should be a really interesting set because I think it's it's sort of a variation of what I said way back in the first quarterfinal set, Calimehtar versus I-Knights. You know, I had said at the time that match was going to be really interesting because we had I-Knights as kind of the one with the general gamer skill, and Calimehtar as someone who, someone who did not have as much gamer skill, but really probably has the most knowledge of anyone in the tournament when it comes to having watched games at a pro level and just sort of seen what it looks like.
Right.
And I think there's sort of a similar dynamic with this setup where you have, again, similarly, Calimehtar, I think, has some theoretical knowledge Statistic may not have, but then Statistic had some really solid showing in his own quarterfinal match. Just a really great eco game, and I think some really solid fundamentals that I think will create a really fun dynamic for this series.
Right.
Talk to me. What do you see here? What do you want to talk about? There are a couple things I'm seeing, but what do you think?
Well, okay, so number one, both of them put in a pretty good showing in their initial set, like I said. But significantly, both of them kind of relied on very mobile, Calimehtar to a lesser extent, but a very, very flexible mobile army, Statistic more so. And that is not going to be played in this map. Statistic with the Cumans, which is one of the ones he picked last time, I think has a few more options to go into than the Magyar do, although they're both strong civs in their own right. So I think we're going to have to see a shakeup of what happened last time. The battle's going to have to go to the water to some degree. And I think a lot of it's going to be the question of who makes the initial push, an initial supported push, over onto the other person's island.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is going to be really interesting. I think when we talk about the civs, like you mentioned, Statistic is playing as the Cumans. We've seen that before from Statistic, and I think he uses that to good effect to get that economy booming. I do expect if he is not pressured at all, I expect Statistic to have a really good economy and to have a pretty good showing when it comes to, fighting this map. I believe Calimehtar picked Magyars because she wanted to try to get early pressure in. The Magyars, they're a unique thing. They have a couple of bonuses and attributes that are really neat, but the main one that stands out is that they get their melee attack upgrades, like forging, for example, in the feudal age, immediately upon hitting the next stage.
Right.
So if this were Arabia, then what I would expect is she would throw down stables and get scouts out right away, or men at arms or militia out right away and immediately start the attack. She can't do that on this map.
Right.
I'm betting she's probably a little frustrated and trying to figure out, okay, now what do I do?
Now, having said that, she is already throwing. I'm sorry. Never mind. That is Statistic.
Yeah, I was gonna say both players doing a great job with their economy. Both are prioritizing wood, which I think is fantastic. We do see Statistic getting a dock up right away.
Yeah, I think I've been watching their scouting, and they both basically just now realized that they're on an island. Statistic making the call to transition into that water control, probably for fish, although
Yeah, he immediately queues up fishing ships. Good job. Good for him.
Now, as the Cumans, this is a little bit of a mixed bag, right? Because your thing is one of your things is the second town center.
Right.
And if you're on a water map where you can queue up a dock and fishing ships, that can also function as kind of the second town center, which means in a way that advantage is mitigated because he's got to put all that wood into that water control.
That's very true. It's not just the wood, but it also means that Calimehtar, as the Magyar, and essentially any civilization, when you throw down a dock in the Dark Age, you have kind of a second town center for the purposes of being able to pump out fishing ships to get the food eco going at the same time as you have your town center working. You're not going to see that in the idle TC time. That's just for the town centers. But in a way, docks function like mini town centers. And so having a second town center in the feudal age is not as useful on a map like this as it would be for, again, Arabia. And we see Calimehtar going up already with 20 vills. That would be classic for a scout rush. Yeah. Which, again, makes me wonder, perhaps she's committed to a scout rush anyway. I'm going to be watching her dock to see if she gets a transport ship out, and if she does, she may decide to attack, which would be fantastic.
That would be brilliant. One thing I want to point out that we were talking about that second town center feature of the dock. The downside to that is you've got to be ready with both your wood production and your housing. And we saw Statistic get housed for a few seconds there because he was not ready to deal with the extra space being required by his
transport ship coming out for Calimehtar.
Beautiful.
She wants to attack.
And a fishing boat going out to scout. That is good on her part. I like that.
Let's see. Let's turn that there. Yeah, she wants to know where he is. I think this is really good. First off, I love getting pressure out early. If you can set the tempo, if you can put pressure on your opponent, cause him to make mistakes, right? Not to mention if you can actually get kills, but just getting in his head can be a really, really powerful thing.
Yep. And I want to point out that he's got an idle TC time of almost 2 minutes more than her. That's significant.
Whoa. She's filled the transport ship with a villager. What is she thinking?
If she's planning on putting the stable on the other island and it up from there, I agree. That's a good play on her.
Oh, I like this. Yeah. A scout and the villager. Now, my question is, does she want to put anything else in, or is that going to be it for her? Either way, I'm liking this move. Notice, by the way, right now, Statistic is up 2 vills, but his town center is, going up to feudal age right now. She's free to produce more vills. She just got wheelbarrow out. Great job there. By the time he wraps up with feudal, she will have tied him in the vill counts, and she'll have wheelbarrow up.
Agreed. Now, the other thing I want to point out is one effective way to deal with raiding is to build around the town center. And if Statistic realizes that this is what she intends to do, and he plops down a second town center, which he can do kind of where that he placed his mill. Yeah. You've got food there, you've got wood there, you've got stone and gold there. You could operate your entire eco pretty much out of there and be pretty invulnerable to raiding.
Does Statistic suspect something? He's got a militia out on the field. Or maybe he wants to attack himself. He has a transport ship up as well.
I saw that.
These are 2 players. They've been watching every quarterfinal up to, so far. They watched the semifinal A set. And, something that we've talked about in all of these games is the killer instinct, and it is, putting pressure on your opponent. And I think that these 2 have really been listening. They've been taking that to heart, and they're trying to find ways to get pressure on their opponents right out of the gate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of action I love to cast. I can't wait to see what happens here.
Me either. I do want to point out, Calimehtar has decided to plop down buildings, and her first one is a blacksmith.
Okay.
I don't like this move for 2 reasons. Number one, if Statistic Scout finds it, and he might, then he will definitely know that she's got villagers and is doing something else.
Yeah.
The second reason is it provides nothing to the beachhead that's already there. Right now, if those villagers get attacked, they have no choice but to retreat. Getting out a blacksmith is a good idea, but get out that stable first and get out some cover.
Statistic putting out a second dock, which is a good idea if you're going to be, long-term contesting the water control. That if Calimehtar gets a foothold on the island, that's not as important, but that's a big if. Now, Calimehtar went scouting with the scout, and she went walking through the base. The men-at-arms attacked, so Statistic likely does know that she is on the island, at least with the scout.
Right.
Although he doesn't realize that his scout was right there by her scout.
First stable comes up for Calimehtar, and a second stable goes down. This is good. She has the food to support it. She could do a lot of damage if she wanted to.
Yeah, this is really strong. This is really, really strong. I think the one thing I will say I'm a little confused by is she researched scale mail armor, and I don't see her going into infantry, so why would she do that? I don't know. But
it could be a misclick or a reflex click.
Yeah.
She did pick up the scale barding as well as bloodlines, so she clearly knows what she wants to tech into.
Right. And in the meantime, we have Statistic. He is 4 vills down. He's gone for an early siege workshop. Again, I guess I love this too. He's going to go for the kill as well. He wants to load up these infantry into battering rams, get them into the transport ship, and move over into her base. And on her end, I think she's all in on the offense.
I agree.
I think this is a question of who's actually going to hit first.
I agree. Calimehtar with 34 vills to Statistics 30. He has the superior military, but right now, but most of it's going to go over onto her island. Now, there's always a world in which she panics due to the early pressure, and she has to pull her people out, or Statistic does. It's in a lot of ways, it's a game of chicken at this point.
Right.
Calimehtar putting down a mining camp and then mining the stone off of Statistics Island. I like that. Don't leave them idle. Get some work going. Oh no.
Here we go. The attack begins. And these are fully upgraded scouts. This is big. This is big. Many vills die here. 2 down. The infantry are out. She rightfully, correctly runs away from that. She can spend the entire game, kiting, running away from these militia, and she should see the battering rams.
Yes.
Now,
I hope she does.
I don't know if she'll have something prepared at home for that, but on the wood line. That's
good for her.
3 vills down.
Rating.
Yep. And I think Statistic is confused. What do I do here?
Yeah, he withdraws the gold protection. I think he's trying to get all his guys onto the transport ships, and he sees it as 2 of 5, and he doesn't quite know why it's not working.
Now, this is great raiding. One thing you want to make sure of, this is one of the most important things, one of the hardest skills to develop. If you are the one doing the raiding, yes, you have to put mental bandwidth on doing the attack, but you also got to remember to keep your eyes at home and continue to get your own town center producing and taking advantage of the pressure by building your own economy while you're attacking the enemy economy. Right now, both players have idle TC times that are pretty close, and she needs to be doing something at home at the same time as she's attacking.
Right. Now, Statistic is loaded into both transports. They're ready to go. He needs to send them now and try to control the 2 fronts, get that tempo going. Calimehtar, on the other hand, she turns and hits the back line. It does have some spears there, and one of her scouts goes down.
Still 3 TCs up. This is good. This is good. It's 1 scout down, but the pressure is still on. Calimehtar taking a strong early lead here, 38 vills to 27. And she's queuing up for Castle Age.
And teching up for Castle. Statistic needs to go now, or he will not have, this attack will not be able to sustain itself. If he goes now, and there it goes. If he's able to knock down that town center, 2 rams is a lot. 2 Rams and supported by men-at-arms is a lot. The town center could go down.
Calimehtar does have fire galleys out. She is going to contest the water.
Good for her. I like this.
If he pops out right here.
Everything. Yeah. The Rams unload.
Okay. Does she see it? That is the question. I mean, she sees, but does she recognize? Does she have a plan for this? Here we go.
Men-at-arms
Here we
into
go.
the first Ram. They are ready to go. And she uses the fire galleys to try to attack the Ram. She gets a little damage off, but not much. Good for her.
Yeah. I think... And she's throwing stables down on her own side, so she does see it.
Yep.
She knows she wants to respond. She's thinking knights. Yeah, he has to move right now.
Yep.
Now for him, I'm going to move over to his... Now, he has not scouted the island. He has no idea where she is. I mean, this is like, if we go... This is the town center. This right here is what he needs to hit. I want to know... All right, so we're watching the attack, the counterattack from Statistic on Calimehtar, but note that Calimehtar is still on his side, on his base, and has enough stone for a castle. I predict a castle drop.
I agree. Rams focus on the stable in a lot of ways. I can understand that, and Statistic is housed. That's worth pointing out. In a lot of ways, I understand that because the cavalry are what can turn this around. But I do not think this is the right call. Meanwhile, he's still in feudal. He's got the resources to tech up, and he's not. He's too focused in on this, I think. Castle drop, you called it.
Yep. And that castle drop is fantastic. It's covering up an awful lot of gold, stone. There's a lot of pressure tied into this castle. Now, the question is, will Statistics see the castle and maybe do some Vil fighting to try to stop it? I think he's too focused on this.
I agree. A knight coming in, that is the appropriate counter to a ram for
Calimehtar. What I would like to be seeing here is her use Vils to knock out the battering rams, and then use the TC. The town center will stay up. That's not enough infantry.
Town center survives. Yep. Good play by Statistic, but a little bit slow. The town center survives. And Calimehtar techs up, and the castle will go up.
And now the question is, will the castle go up? It looks like it will. I don't think he can stop that.
Not in time. Not with the 3 villagers on site.
Not with those butter knives. I'm sorry.
It was a good play, but not quite enough. Calimehtar throwing down a town center of her own on Statistics Island.
Castle is up, and Statistics still has not teched up into... There it is, castle right now.
That's a town center on her island, not Statistics.
A second TC for Calimehtar. That will make the eco bonus, the early eco bonus, even better. Now,
I like the early aggression from both players. I really do.
I love this. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I'd want to be seeing from both players. This was really great. Both players clearly went into this game with a strategy. Both players adapted to the map and figured out how to make it work. I'm just going to say right now, y'all both have something to be very proud of. This is fantastic.
Absolutely true. Now, Statistic spearmen are hacking at this castle, and the castle can't shoot back because murder holes haven't been researched at the same time.
Right.
They're spearmen. They're not going to be able to do much damage.
Right.
Now, Statistic does have the Siege Workshop, and he does have battering rams, and he is going into the castle age. The battering rams are able to deal with the castle pretty effectively.
But Magyar Hussar coming out. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's Calimehtar's battering rams. So
well, Statistic has 2 of his own.
Yeah, here's the thing though.
Yeah.
You have Magyar Hussar out on the field. They are like typical scout cav, light cavalry, but they have a bonus attack against siege weapons. They are extremely good. One of my favorite unique units in the game, in fact. And they're going to do a great job here. Now, we'll see. How does Statistic respond to his town center going down? Likewise, garrisoning the TC But yeah, there we go. That's what we want to see. That will be more effective. This is a good combination. Have the battering ram attack the TC because the arrows aren't that big a deal, and then use the cav to try to kill the vills that pop out.
Now, just for statistics side, you're going to want to use the TC and manually target the Hussars so that you can get your vills out. And if he does that,
which it appears he's doing, target the Hussars, take them down, and then pop out the vills, or even bring spearmen in.
Yep. One of Calimehtar's rams attacking the farm.
Yep.
A little bit of a mistake for her. If it had gotten in instead of attacking the farm, that TC might have gone down. As it stands, the TC will live, and Statistic does make it to the Castle Age.
Now, what I want to be seeing at this point, Calimehtar's been doing fantastic, right? I think that Calimehtar's right now leading. There is one thing that concerns me. There are only 9 vills on food right now with 2 TCs up. And I think that not just for villagers, but also for, her desired composition. She wants to go into knights. She wants to go into Magyar Hussar. Those are heavy food compositions. So I want to be seeing a lot more vills on food than what we have right now. You want to go up to Imperial Age, most likely,
Agreed. Statistic is teching into the pikemen. This is a good choice. And he's bringing his own rams in to try to deal with the castle while he deals with Calimehtar's rams on his TC.
Right.
Spearmen are not the best at dealing with rams, but they'll probably be enough to do the job. And Calimehtar has got a second TC up, and she has produced from it, so good on her. At the same time, the vill count is 44 to 29, so a clear victory for Calimehtar, but not as big as it could be.
Right. I think we're seeing that in the idle TC time, Now, the reason for that is because your idle TC time goes up twice as fast when you have 2 TCs instead of 1. But, even so, there's just an opportunity there for even more vills.
Now, Statistic has no villagers on gold and no villagers on stone, and this is going to cost.
What are these 3 vills doing? See, I think this is a mistake. I think she keeps sending in battering rams one at a time, hoping to, knock out this TC. She wants to win right here, but she does not have what she needs in order to make that happen.
Yep.
And I don't know what these villagers are doing out here. Just being a distraction, maybe killing vills, but hey, if she takes out the barracks, that'll be nice.
It'll be a win for her, certainly. Statistic does not have enough wood production to support. He's got the villagers on it, but for a while they were walking a long way, or I think so. I'd have to watch the replay to be sure. But, he's got 16 villagers on wood, but not a lot of wood.
A third town center coming up for Calimehtar on Statistic's base.
This is a good move. Especially, it's put on wood, it's put on gold. And if the game goes on too long, even if Statistic does manage to push her off the island, it won't be able to do much. Statistic with 3 fire galleys sitting next to his dock. If he brought them around, he could use them to attack at least that blacksmith, possibly the mining camp as well. At least see where she's coming from or do some scouting.
Look at all of these knights back at home on Calimehtar's base. I'm surprised she doesn't. Maybe she's... Oh, here we go. Here's a little bit of a fight. Does she see it? Oh, she's not seeing it. She's not seeing it. Oh, no. She's going to throw away her fire galleys. Okay, wait. No. She's coming back in. All right, you have the numbers. Turn around and fight.
Take the fight.
Take the fight. Turn around. Fight that.
You win we win these.
Right. Yeah. This is sad. Obviously some mixed messages there with the naval commands.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to give Statistic control of the water, I think. Now, what I would like to see is to take these knights, even half of these knights, and put them on the transport ship, take them to the other side. You could be using these knights could be doing some serious work.
5 or 6 knights can kill villagers under their town center while being shot up by arrows, go back to the castle, garrison, and heal, and then return and do it again and again and again. They're not doing anything back there. I think she's a little worried about that ram. The ram got awfully close to destroying her TC. So I understand, but I don't think it's going to work for her. For Statistic, he really needs to put down a second TC, and he needs to do it now.
Now she's attacking the TC. This is, I think, a little bit of a mistake. Use them to raid. They're going to be much better at killing the vills. Magyar Hussar are really not that good against buildings. They're not knights. They're more like scout cabs. So this is good. Use the battering ram and then have the Hussar kill vills and protect your siege. As it is, they're just pulling back. She needs to protect the battering ram.
It looks like she's doing exactly that, ram on site along with the Magyar Hussars. And she's got enough of them to potentially overwhelm the defenders. If this town center goes down, it's probably game for Statistic.
Yeah, I think that was a good attempt, just not enough battering rams. She should pull back, because right now...
Yeah.
There we go. You can get some Vill kills. Yeah, that's good. But right now, take a look at the bottom here. Calimehtar with 22 Vill kills to Statistics 4. That's making the difference.
That is a huge difference.
Ooh! And Mangonel coming out. Now that is a good move. Why? Because the Mangonel outranges the town center. So Statistic has to come up with some response to take out this Mangonel. And if his only option is to rush Vills forward and attack, he's sacrificing his economy. They will all die here. Most of them, anyway.
He sells wood for gold. He had nobody on gold, and he has no gold units on the field.
Right.
I think he realizes that now, but there's not much he can do.
Right.
The pressure is on. That town center is going to go down.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, there's not enough... There's not enough to keep this town center up. TC goes down before Handcart could come out. Statistic is in mortal danger. I know when I'm beat. Good game, Statistic says. As Calimehtar takes game 1 in our semifinal B series. What an incredible match. What an incredible match.
I loved that entire thing.
Everything about that, but from both players. Amazing. Amazing. Extremely well done. Way to bring pressure into this game early on. Both players trying to go for an early win. Set the tempo, put the pressure on your opponent, build up your economy behind that, and win. Don't go into the Imperial Age and wait, and get a massive army. No, I want to fight like right out of the gate. Both players going for that, and that's the kind... This is Age of Empires, man. I love this.
I loved how both armies, each was on the other's island, both attacking both at the same time.
Right.
It wasn't a case of one person kind of trying to hold on for dear life. It was two players both going for the throat at the same time, and only one of them is going to ultimately be victorious. But still, a throat punch, a simultaneous throat punch, is a wonderful thing to see at Age of Empires, especially in the Noob Cup.
Right.
I remember telling you back when we were talking about this thing that, we could be seeing 2, 3, 4-hour games because, players are just often reluctant to be the aggressive one early. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing here is the opposite of that.
Right. And that again, it's credit to both players. I think it's partly just their instincts playing AoE. And that's partly, I believe both players have been paying a lot of attention in this cup. They've been taking notes. They've been putting in practice. And they're wanting to take what we've been saying over the course of this tournament and what they've been learning about the game over, these last, few weeks of games and put it into practice. And I think we saw that here to amazing effect from both players. Very well done. Great job on game 1. Let's move on to game 2. Okay, and here we are in game 2 of our Group B or Set B semifinals. Calimehtar in the green playing as the Japanese against Statistic in the orange playing as the Vietnamese. This is interesting. Now, I know we've seen the Vietnamese once in this tournament. Have we seen the Japanese yet at all?
I don't think we have.
I have to go back and check, but I don't think so. These are some interesting civs. The Japanese are a pretty good all-around civ. They have some unique bonuses. The one that stands out to me is that their infantry attack faster. I want to say it's 33% faster. So it's not so much that they're stronger, but every little attack, the attacks come out faster, and that adds up. You'll also see that their resource buildings, their lumber camps and their mining camps, they cost 50% less wood, which in the long run, I should say, it adds up, especially in the early game, when you're trying to when every little bit of wood matters and you're trying to build up there. The Vietnamese, meanwhile, are the ultimate anti-archer civilization. They have access to the Imperial Archer upgrade. Their archery range units have extra HP. So if Calimehtar wants to go into, say, archers, Statistic as the Vietnamese is well positioned to respond to that. Both players, as we enter 3 minutes in, are pretty close on the idle TC front. Got Statistic at 1 minute. Cali up there 40 seconds. So right now it's pretty even. Pretty typical pretty typical opening here. Both players 6 on food, 2 on wood. What I'm wondering, Hiram, is are we going to see, like last game, are we going to see these two players try to go for really early pressure right out of the gate? Or are we going to see one or both of them maybe try for a slower build up into a Castle Age or Imperial Age army?
Yeah, I think if you're going for early aggression, there's definitely better civs than both of these. Neither one is the best.
Mm-hmm.
If we were on a map with fishing, I'd say the Japanese have a pretty solid advantage there, but we're not.
Mm-hmm.
So one of their main advantages that gives them the food to pump out an early army is just not in play at all. At least not to any substantial degree. There are the turtles that can be shore fished, but
oh no!
Statistic
ships, is attacking with a scout, but attacking the town center on accident, and he goes down. Ouch!
That hurts.
Now that
hurts.
That does hurt. What that means more than anything, curse auto attack Statistic says. Yeah, I can imagine. And what that does for Statistic more than anything is it shuts down his ability to gather intelligence. He's not going to be sure what might be coming from Calimehtar. I mean, is she going to attack him early? Is she just going to sit back and boom up? He doesn't have a scout to know that. I think that's probably one of the reasons why he's getting the house walls up early. He wants to try to protect himself just in case.
Right. The other thing it does is, especially at this level where headspace is limited and you've got so many things you're focusing on, the ability to turn on auto scout and slowly have the entire map revealed is a huge deal. It'll reveal those relics that you and I can see, all 8 of them.
Oh wow!
They cannot.
Oh wow! Calimehtar's building a mill over on the fish, these little fish lakes. She probably, once she saw the turtles, she realized, hey, wait a minute, fishing gets food in rather quickly. I ought to try to take advantage of that.
A lot of food. Yeah.
And Statistic, for his part, his scout died before he ever found any of those lakes. So
exactly, and so he's going to have to do his initial game without that advantage, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
Right.
So slowly, if I had to guess, Calimehtar is going to slowly reveal close to the entire map. And Statistic, for his part, he's only going to reveal that which he manually scouts, and that might not be nearly as much. It might be, but it might not be. Still, he's got a 2-vil lead at this point, which is good.
Now that's the advantage he does have. He's got the vil lead, and if he's able to, boom that up, that could be really strong for him.
Yeah. 2 vils obviously isn't a lot, and especially Now, Calimehtar has closed it, so there's that as well. But she has access to those shorefish, those box turtles, and right now, I mean, he could, but he won't. So it's going to stagnate his entire economy, even if he did have a 2 vil lead and maintain it. It's going to be hard to keep it for long.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, one of the things that we did see in the last game, I mentioned only briefly, but we did see it, was a significant number of resources being floated. And those resources, that extra food, will only do good if she spends it. And so if the floating occurs, well, the bonus is negated. So we're not at the level where resources in correlates necessarily to resources out. So that's something we'll have to watch.
Right. That's a very good point. Keep an eye on these resources. Make sure that they're being used. If you see numbers up in the multiple thousands and they're just sitting there, well, then that tells you that you're not using your economy as efficiently as you could. Whether that's using those resources somewhere, or even just selling them in the market, to get resources that you are using. You want to make sure that you're continuing to use your economy.
The other thing I want to point out is if he gets his wood eco going, and it looks like he has, he'll have to transition into farms earlier, and again, he has. But the food loss is not nearly as substantial. Yeah, it's a little slower, but 18 villagers on food, or 10 villagers on farms versus 10 villagers on box turtles, yeah, it makes a difference, but it doesn't make a game's worth of difference.
No. By no means has Statistic suddenly lost the game because he lost a scout and isn't aware of the fishing pools. It's a small advantage. It gives, maybe it could snowball into a bigger advantage, or maybe not. Statistic on stone early. That's got me wondering, does he want to try to get a castle out early? Does he want to, do a tower rush? What does he want with that stone? I don't know.
I don't know either. A tower rush, if you're using it offensively, might not be terribly effective on this map just because of how the resources are located. It'd be almost impossible to, with the resources you have, push your opponent entirely off of gold before having way more stone in play than you could possibly have at play at this point.
Both players going up into the feudal age right now. Just want to point that out.
Worth pointing out. But if you start placing those towers around a lot of that central gold, or if you found those relics, kind of locking those resources down, that could be effective.
Now, one of the things that I predict is we see a wall here from Calimehtar. Actually, from both players. I mean, Statistic's got kind of a partial wall right here. Calimehtar also doing a partial wall. Statistic, if he were to take Vils, let's say down the right side or the east side, and try to do a tower rush, he hits this wall. I don't know whether he would even loop around and try to... It seems like an awful lot to commit. I would suspect he might just throw the tower down right here, try to block off this gold.
Yeah. Then again, if you click past, you'll get past.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to point out that the scouting is significant. Calimehtar has found most of the resources, the special resources this map has to offer, and Statistics still isn't able to see them. That's the advantage of having a scout with auto scout.
Both players
feudal and a
getting in eco upgrades. Well done for them. Statistic getting in wheelbarrow and double bit axe. Calimehtar has double bit axe, picking up wheelbarrow now. I like this. Both players prioritizing the eco. Yep.
I like it as well.
Now, I'm going to make a prediction here. If this game goes long, what may make the difference more than anything else we've talked about, as far as losing that scout and the scouting eco, and because right now, if you look at the scoreboard, you'll see Calimehtar is up 500 points. Most of that, or 400, give or take. Most of that is just in the scouting, and it's not really that big of a difference. They're pretty even right now.
Yeah.
What may make the difference is Calimehtar, because of the scouting, knows where the relics are.
Right.
She sees all of these relics out on the field. And if Statistic doesn't realize that, that could make a long-term difference if this becomes a slogfest.
even if she doesn't pick up all of them, even if she only
Right.
picks up 4 to statistics none, well,
Right.
that's 4 relics more than your opponent, and that's a lot of gold. On the flip
Right.
side, there's a lot of good gold available.
Mm-hmm.
So having relic control matters a lot
Mm-hmm.
if you get to the late game, the super late game where you can't really get gold from anywhere else. But if he manages to keep up his mining operations, keep them going, keep villagers being tasked to them, well, he might not need that relic gold. He knows where some is, and if he moves from spot to spot, he'll never run dry. At least not at the beginning.
Statistic going into the archery range, that is the correct typical strategy for the Vietnamese. Most of their bonuses are archer-centric. Now that may be, Calimehtar may be expecting that, and that's why she's got 4 skirmishers out already. One of the things that I'm noticing... wait. Statistic has just taken the Vil lead. When did that happen? And how did that happen?
Because they're idle back and forth for a little while.
Their idle TC times are almost identical. So...
yeah.
I'm not actually sure. If you've got equal idle TC time, I guess it must really be, whatever the 10 seconds of difference from both players that's making up that Vil count.
Right.
Calimehtar
not only
buying
that,
wood
like
for
if
gold.
one player gets... Yep. If one player gets loom and the other one does not, well, that's a villager. And it doesn't show up right away.
Notice the second lumber camp that she threw down as the Vils got, far enough away from the first one. She's doing that because she wants to prioritize her wood gather rate. She does not want the Vils wasting time walking back and forth from the trees to the lumber camp. So, you spend 100 food to throw that down. It's pretty good. Now, I don't know that I would have bought 100 wood from the market in order to make that incremental of a move. But, again, this is the kind of thing that I was talking about earlier when it comes to seeing how the pros play and, paying attention to some of these things and incorporating them into your own gameplay. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. So I just looked. Calimehtar has picked up loom and Statistic has not. And that's one of the...
That would make a difference, right? Right.
That can play out economically in the beginning in your favor, but as soon as a few military units get into your backline and start hitting your villagers, it makes a huge difference there too. So getting loom is almost always worth it. I would never want to be in the feudal age without it. I'll put it that way.
I agree with you. We're seeing now what Statistic wants that stone for as he throws down some early stone walls. He wants to stay safe. Now, what I'm wondering is how is he going to build those walls out? What's he going to commit to? I bet you these walls reveal the lakes and perhaps even the relics to him. That might give him some info he needs.
Especially since he will probably realize that they're being mirrored. Well, he'll know that if there's one of these, there's probably more.
Right.
Calimehtar moving into the castle age. Good for her. Good timing.
Mm-hmm. Now, it does raise the question, what strategy is Calimehtar going for? You were talking earlier about the civs and saying how they're not necessarily the best for early pressure. And I was going to push back on that a little bit to say that because of the faster attack speed, the Japanese Dark Age Rush, the Drush, is pretty good, if you attack really early on like that. Yeah. And so when I saw the 2 militia come out, I wondered if she was going to try something like that, but she hasn't. So now, at this point in the game, when you hit the castle age, you kind of wonder what her game plan is, because Calimehtar could do anything. Japanese are good general all-around civ. Statistic, I was about to say, is likely to go into archery ranges, but he's got 5 scouts out. I got to admit, I like that.
I like it too. Calimehtar is teched into anti-archer. She does have a spearman on the field and one more coming in, so that is something. But 4 scouts is more than enough to deal with some spearmen and especially to deal with all those skirmishers she has on the field.
They're not getting in, though. This side is completely walled off. He'll have to break through the walls. Well, unless there's a hole right there at the house. I don't think there is, but
If he clicks past, we will see. I think he might have just clicked past and realized
he sees the archer
here
ranges.
we go.
That is 2 dead militia and a dead Vil, for sure. First blood. Well, I say first blood, but the scout. But the Statistic taking some critical kills there, I believe.
Yep.
Spearmen coming out. Now, 2 spearmen won't be enough to kill the 5 scouts if Statistic commits to the fight. I would not be surprised, though, if he just decides to run, try to keep them alive, continue to put pressure on Calimehtar with those scouts.
If he knows what those buildings are, if he took the time to click and see that they were in archery range, he'll have a pretty good idea of what she intends to do from here. Again, though, we see Statistic, he's in the feudal age, and he's got more than enough resources to tech up, and he's not teching up. His town center is idle.
I was going to make that note. Yeah.
And yeah, okay, good play, but you're losing ground here.
Right.
You've got, gosh, twice and again how much you the amount of resources you need to tech up, and while you're dancing around these spearmen, your lead, or Calimehtar's lead rather, is growing.
Now, yeah, both players during that raid situation that we were watching, both players had idle TCs, so both players were equally distracted by what was going on, and that's sort of the next level that is like one of those skills that takes time to develop. Is to say, okay, how can I manage a raid or defend from a raid and keep my economy going at the same time? It's extremely difficult, but pays off massive dividends if you can make it happen.
With that in mind, he's teching up to castle now, and with 46 Vils to her 34.
What we got to see is, what does she do now that the scouts are coming in? She needs to either move her spearmen or block this hole in the wall, or she's got to stop this.
Yeah.
And I want to point out something before the action happens. Oh!
Spearmen coming in. House wall!
House wall! House wall! House wall!
There's
a hole! Oh, no!
And there's a hole! This is devastating. Poor Calimehtar. She thought she'd walled it off, but she didn't. The Vils go down. The scouts are in. Oh, it burns! It burns, it freezes.
3 scouts down, and I think this raid may be finished. That could have been much worse for Calimehtar than it was. House wall, beautiful. Extremely well done there. Unfortunately, a hole in the wall did mean a couple more Vils dead than needed to be. One thing I do want to point out, I was about to mention this before that happened, and I love this for Statistic, this was fantastic, is he started up with scouts, so he's kind of showed his hand that he went into some early cavalry, but what's coming in behind that is not knights, but archers. That's a really nice move, because if he's in Calimehtar's head, if she's thinking, oh, he's going scouts, he's going knights, I gotta prepare anti-cav, and then he shows up with an archer horde, well, she's in a lot of trouble.
The other thing I want to say is Calimehtar is going into Cav Archer. Now, Cav Archer is what Statistic used in his first set to great effect, so I don't know if he'll know how to counter it or not. He's also going for a castle drop. These are going to be very hard for him to deal with unless he changes his tack. Archers are not great against Cav Archers.
Well, I gotta say, this is a scary strategy for Calimehtar, because again, the Vietnamese are one of the anti-archer civilizations. Right. They do have better skirmishers than anybody else, and even their archers, I would often pick archers as a kind of counter to a Cav Archer. They do have more range, and the Vietnamese archers have more health, so they'll be able to withstand Cav Archer fire better.
That's fair.
Castle versus castle.
Statistic's trying to go for his own castle drop.
Does he see it?
He'll see it in
neither one of them see it.
Oh my word.
They do not see it. Oh, this could be devastating.
He's going to see it when the castle goes up, when Calimehtar's castle goes up.
His archers are right in the castle. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Now, before they go up, I want to point this out here. We could see a doubt. We're probably going to see a doubt. They see it. They finally see it.
That's almost guaranteed. He sees it. Will this 93, 94, 95? Will it go up in time? It does. It does. The castle goes up.
And a ram coming in for Calimehtar. Even if he could build the castle, he's gonna have to deal with the cav archers, the spearmen, and the ram.
Oh no, this is massive. And one other thing too, we have Yasama coming in, which doesn't really help if she doesn't build guard towers. That just gives extra arrows to her watchtower. But Calimehtar has the blacksmith upgrades, and Statistic has not picked up the blacksmith techs for his archers. Now, I'm guessing that's because he wasn't planning on fighting this early. But it means that he's lost his archer horde, and I'd say for archers more than any other unit, you want those blacksmith techs.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
And the worst part is even if he deleted that castle now, you only recover the resources that that haven't gone into it yet. So if you delete a castle before it begins to be built, you get them all back. If it's 95% built, you only get 5% back. And so not only does the castle go down, but he doesn't even get to recover the resources from it.
Right.
It is the worst case scenario. And he's got a hole in his own wall. Calimehtar has cav archers and spearmen in his back line. And it's back to last game where he is huddled around his town center trying to keep it alive.
Statistic doing the right thing by selling off some of his excess resources in order to pump out what he needs to pump out. We see him queuing up 14 militia, which I think is a desperation play. I don't know that I would go militia against cav archer and archer.
Yeah. Statistic builds a blacksmith for the first time. I think he's recognized just how crucial those upgrades are. But still, he's being pushed off of stone. He's having to turtle inside his base. And with cav archers, spearmen, and rams coming in, he does not have a lot of options.
This is a strong all-in play. Now, I will give Statistic credit. He's keeping his economy going, producing more vills. Calimehtar, we have the idle TC here for her. She is committed to the offense. So if Statistic survives this, he will actually be in a very good position economically, but he's got to somehow push this back, and that is a tall ask.
It's going to be hard. He's got the ram under his base. He's trying to get a defensive castle up. Good for him. If Calimehtar is not able to task or keep her headspace in and the castle goes up, that's going to be very effective at turning her around. Having said that, she's got so many military on the field compared to what he has. How's he supposed to get it up?
Mangonel coming in here. And this is tough. These vills aren't protected. They go down. He can't save this town center. Calimehtar attacking from the other side with skirmishers. Statistic calls the GG. And that is our semifinal B series. Calimehtar 2-0 over Statistic. What an incredible, mind-blowing set. Hiram, help me out here. I don't have words. I mean...
I don't know what to say. The level of play we're seeing here is just a step up above what we've seen in some of the previous sets.
House walls,
maybe
man.
All of them. So the house wall, okay? Two forward castles or two castles going up right next to each other. There's stuff going on here that we did not see in the previous sets. And no disrespect to the players in the previous sets, make no mistake. But this is clearly, a tier above a lot of what we've seen so far, and honestly, it just makes me happy.
I mean, again, I was saying over the break, one of the things I loved about the last set is how both players clearly went into this with a game plan, and they picked civs with that game plan in mind. I think we saw that both from Statistics, Cumans, and Calimehtar's Magyar. And then here in this next game, likewise, you saw both players going heavy into an early pressure. They both had their eye toward the killer instinct, toward what does it take to knock out my opponent. And I think we saw that from both players. Game 2, what an incredible an incredibly lucky situation for Calimehtar, an incredibly unlucky situation for Statistic, where it's just if it had just been, if the castle had just been off, a little ways further back or something like that, then I think we'd have a different situation. But both players putting on that pressure, both players looking to. We saw with Statistic and the scout rush, that was fantastic. Finding the hole in the wall, getting those kills.
And then the transition into archers. That's the one
it's
that
beautiful.
Gets me. It's beautiful, right? Because so many players, they lean in. Hey, it's working. It works kind of fine. Let's do that again. Now do it again. Now do it again. And the transition from scouts, you got what you could. You saw the spearmen, and then the back off and a transition into a different unit set.
And to give him even more, and to give him even more credit than that, it wasn't even a reactive transition. It's not like he said, okay, she's countering my scouts, now I'll do archers. No. He was queuing up the archers while the scouts were moving. His plan from the very beginning was, I'm going to do some raiding with scouts, and then archers are going to be my main play. And that's next level Vietnamese play. That's exactly how you want to play that Civ. That's fantastic.
It's beautiful. It's everything that I had hoped to see in a Noob Cup.
I mean,
end of story.
Yeah. Once again, I know I said this last set. I'm definitely saying this set too. I feel like both of these players have proven that if what you think of when you think of a noob is someone who has no idea what they're doing, someone who is on the bottom rung, just trying to figure out how to move the camera around, these players have gone way above and beyond. They've graduated past noob. I mean, they have really shown their mettle and proven their skill, over these sets. This was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Amen to that. Although some people might consider it insulting to say, you belong here when referencing a Noob Cup.
Right.
Like every player has earned or has demonstrated, especially we've seen some really, really good sets recently. These players are demonstrating that they deserve to be in this tournament, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just queue up onto that. I think a part of that we could talk about is the are these particular players, but I think it also serves as a great encouragement just in general. I think just having these players who started out this tournament not even really playing competitive AoE, and just over the course of a couple of games and a couple of sets, you get your feet wet, and all of a sudden, the skills they develop, and I think what we're seeing is not just. I think what we're seeing is players getting better at the game as they play. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it's beyond. It is partly kudos to Calimehtar and Statistic, and then Teblap and Maniacal Rodent before them, but also just in general, like this is the beauty of playing Age of Empires, and just letting your feet get wet for a couple of games in AoE means these things start to come together, and it's beautiful. Beautiful games from both.
It certainly is.
Congratulations.
So Calimehtar moves on to the finals.
Right. Calimehtar moves on to the finals. She will be facing Maniacal Rodent for our AoE2 Noob Cup final match. And we will also see Statistic move on to the third place decider match against Teblap. We will have both of those games coming up. But for now, congratulations to both players. Extremely well done. Congratulations to Calimehtar for winning effectively here in both games. Well played to both of you. Great job. Hiram, any last words?
Only to echo what you said. Great job. Respect to the people who put themselves out. I don't respect all players. I don't do participation trophies. Some players don't deserve respect. Some games aren't worth a trophy. But these players, they've earned it. Good for them.
Yeah. I mean, that's whether you're just talking about the guts to come out here onto the field and fight, or whether you're talking about the skill on display in this particular set. It was just really, really, really well done. And I am now looking forward to both our third place sets and our finals for sure. They're going to be some fun games. Well played to both of you. Amen to that. With that, this is the Iron Kaiser, along with Hiram of Tyre, signing out.